welcome again to another edition of John's Media World Extra. I'm John Peterson, podcasting from Madison, Wisconsin. Well, don't be afraid of the parts of the Democratic Socialists of America's agenda that isn't really popular. Now, the clip I have deals with just that. As political reporter John Harwood explains, the DSA's appeal is strong advocacy and a new direction that is strengthening the Democratic Party, basically, and strengthening you and me, society as a whole. And it's something that we need to put in place now that the country has been basically shredded by Trump. So let's listen to John Harwood.
John, I'll pose to you what one of our viewers, Dorothy in Maryland, is saying. Why won't the Democrats just focus on policies and stop the divisive conversation of moderates versus something else?
Well, I think they will if they get power. They're going to focus on policies, but this is the time when factions fight each other. I do think the relevant point is the one that you made in the initial question to Joel. I believe this is directional. It's not about socialism per se or democratic socialists of America. The views espoused by the head of the Democratic Socialists for America, who was on television recently, are held by a minuscule number of people. Abolish the Pentagon, abolish the police forces.
Get rid of the Senate, defund the police.
Yeah, that stuff is fringy, going nowhere stuff. Right. The point is directional. It's about aggression and fighting and trying to get more done. It's basically a more government help for people. That's what people who call themselves democratic socialists, that's what they want. And that's what they hope to get if Democrats take over.
All right, now let's go to Democratic Socialist, Wisconsin candidate for governor, Francesca Hong. Now, she's defending the choices she has made in the past. And boy, I tell you, if she's on the debate stage with a Republican and the Republican brings up why she was in debt, I would not bring that question up personally. And Francesca deals with it in the clip I'm about to play for you.
Have been holding myself accountable, been transparent, and apologized for things that I may have said in the past. And yes, it came out that I had credit card debt, and it was an honest financial mistake in which my business, a restaurant that I had for over 7 years, during COVID, I wanted to make sure that our employees were paid, that our bills to our local vendors were paid, and took on that debt myself. Yes, I have tweeted about public safety and police, but I am not going to defund police. And if anyone has been defunding law enforcement, it has been Robin Vos, who has been robbing local government of their equitable funding, which has, it's at the local level where law enforcement is funded. And I take public safety deeply, deeply seriously. And if we are not tough on causes, we cannot be tough on crime. Everyone has a right to feel safe.
And there it is. That's her position. That's just one position. That's her explaining some of the problems that they thought would take her down, but it didn't. And I think it's a great explanation of going into debt simply because you wanted to pay off the people who supplied your restaurant and your employees. I think that's admirable. Let's take a look at what her agenda really is at this point. She supports expanding access to affordable health care by enacting a Badger Care public option. Badger Care is another word for Medicaid in this state. And she wants to double eligibility for Medicaid and guarantees all neighbors and small businesses a public alternative to unaffordable corporate health insurance. She also supports pausing data center construction until there is strong regulatory frameworks in place and, get this, and are powered by cheap 100% clean renewable energy and, yes, we'll continue here, built and operated by union workers with approval of local residents, kind of put in the hands of the local residents. What a thought, huh? Power to the people. Now, Hong supports capping utility rates at 2% of income. Now, I've complained about my bills going up by $100 a month. That's something I can't continue paying. I don't know what's going to happen, but I like capping it at just 2% of a person's income, guaranteeing that every Wisconsinite can afford to keep the lights on, heat their homes, and put the air conditioning on when they need it. Hong supports, by the way, raising the minimum wage to $20 per hour, and she wants to take pricing power away from big hospitals and insurance monopolies by setting a fair, affordable price for medical care. Love all that stuff. More power to her. All right, it looks like Hunter Biden is made out like a bandit, at least a millionaire now. He became $1.7 million richer. That's right. You know, the MAGAs have been using Hunter Biden to get to Joe Biden for many, many years. Well, now Hunter is rich. And this is all because of a defamation lawsuit against Trump advisor Patrick Byrne, who falsely accused him of seeking an $800 million bribe from Iran in exchange for influencing U.S. policy. Well, that wasn't true. But anyway, hey, lies have consequences. Accountability is finally catching up, and karma is what it's all about. All right, the big announcement is that we should all eat the cheaper cuts of meat. That's the American dream. RFK Jr., atop the administration's ivory tower of billionaires, made the announcement. He wants everybody else to eat the cheaper cuts of beef while they eat the steaks. This is all about what you get in life. And get used to it. You're not getting a lot of it except for cheaper cuts of meat.
And this is true all over the country. There's a lot of good food in grocery stores that goes away. Most of the cheap cuts of meat are very inexpensive. If you buy a porterhouse steak or a chicken steak, it is gonna set you back. You can buy liver or the cheaper cuts of steak that are very, very affordable.
Well, I can't wait to have cheaper cuts of beef while they eat steak. But how are we going to prepare those cheap cuts of beef? Well, RFK Jr. has a plan. He's traveling across America, connecting with renowned chefs to show families how to cook cheap cuts of beef into delicious, nutritious meals made with real ingredients and affordable prices. Okay, now, he's got something new he's doing. It's a TV show called The Real Food Show. I'm not kidding you. As The Hollywood Reporter warned, ever wanted to try roadkill prepared 3 different ways? RFK Jr. has the cooking show for you. Now, let's take a look at it.
Hi, I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your HHS Secretary. Welcome to The Real Food Show. Thanks to President Trump, we flipped the food pyramid and put real food back where it belongs, at the center of the American plate. I'm traveling across America, connecting with renowned chefs to show families how to cook delicious, nutritious meals with real ingredients and all at affordable prices. America, it's time to eat real food. Let's get cooking.
Well, at least now we'll know how to cook those cheap cuts of beef. Wow. I can't wrap my head around how stupid this is and how much time he'll spend doing this instead of actually taking care of everything else he has to watch over. I got this clip for you. This is incredible stuff. News Nation had a report on this, and they included a dystopian RFK Jr. craving food in a snowstorm with a bandage on his cheek like he was beat up by somebody. I can't explain. I have no idea what this means exactly, but check it out.
You look hungry. Real food can fix that.
You got to imagine lots of folks on social media will be weighing in on this one and trying to find parallels between what's happening with his own political journey and what is also happening with Americans' diets and the way we have started leaning so heavily on ultra-processed foods that have led to chronic disease. So this is just one of the videos that Kennedy is using to promote his new online series. HHS is also using attention-grabbing social media like you see there, including the post inspired by the upcoming Avengers movie Doomsday.
He'll get a lawsuit there.
And to promote his campaign against ultra-processed food. So he often says food is medicine, which is a real paradigm shift. And he's also been pushing for medical schools to start thinking of food as medicine as well, instead of just leaning on the pills. So we'll see. We haven't seen the first episode. I will be watching. Marky, what do you think?
I'm spooked, Anna.
Yeah, we're all kind of spooked by that. Someone posted this, RFKjr ignores parasite outbreak to plug his new cooking show. Or someone else posted this, with his co-host Brainworm, learn to make dead whale kebabs, baby bear bites, raccoon penis pizza, and cyclospora casserole. Can't wait for the show. Oh, yes, it's already started. Check it out. No. Well, we've talked about it before on this program. Be happy with what you've got, right? That's the BS the Republicans have been pushing on us for so many years, decades, in fact. This is as good as it gets. And if you want more, you got to work harder. Well, it's all nonsense. You can do that. You can save every dime from working harder. But if you get sick, it all disappears, which keeps the lower half of Americans in their place. Now, I've got two clips that talk about that. The first one is Wisconsin Representative Brian Stile very subtly making that point, concluding, we want to encourage work. Oh, goody.
I was talking to the owner just the other day, and he's owned Clifford's now for about 38 years. And I was talking to a waitress who was here who does the fish fry on Friday nights and has done it on Friday night. She has another job, but she does Friday nights for about 30 years. So the fish fry started, if my memory serves me, at $6.95. It's now $21. It's still a pretty good deal for an all-you-can-eat fish fry. And we were talking about the impact that the no tax on tips has on her. Meaningful and changing. I was talking to another person who's working overtime, not in the restaurant, in another business, and we were talking about the impact that no tax on overtime has. Encouraging people to pick up that extra shift. If you have a need for you and your family, you have an opportunity to work a little bit of overtime, let's help you out. And let's not only give you the overtime, let's encourage you to take more of that pay home. That's a good thing. We want to encourage work.
We want to encourage work because we're all not working enough, apparently. Wow. 2, 3 jobs. That's great. Have you found time to enjoy life yet? No? That's part of life, I guess. Then there's Amazon founder Jeff Bezos saying raising his taxes wouldn't help a teacher in Queens. Well, here's Scott Galloway looking back at a time that made more sense, of course, because, well, we had one-earner families and a much higher tax rate. Let's watch.
I pay billions of dollars in taxes. And it's a perfect, again, if people want me to pay more billions, right, then let's have that debate. But don't pretend, that's going to solve the problem. You could double the taxes I pay, and it's not going to help that teacher in Queens. I promise you. So you can't connect those two things, not logically.
I say we give it a whirl, that whole doubling of taxes, just see what happens.
Yeah, I was like, that's not logical.
This is the mother of all eye rolls. Jeff Bezos talking about his worry or concern about taxation. 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, when America was healthier, better economy, people felt better about their country, we had top tax rates of anywhere between 60 and 90%. Because what you want from a tax system is you want the least taxing tax possible. If you taxed education, food, and healthcare, you'd end up with a less healthy, less educated populace. That would be a bad tax. But when you have alternative minimum taxes, say on people making more than $1 million a year or corporations making more than $1 billion a year, no one is any less happy. If someone makes $8 million a year instead of $6 million, they're no less happy. But if you take that $2 million and you give a $10,000 child tax credit to 200 homes, they're much happier.
All right, Scott Galloway making a great point, but I got another example of we should be happy with what we've got, okay? Congressional candidate from Wisconsin, Michael Alfonso, married to Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy's daughter, isn't worried about struggling families and high prices. In fact, he even admits it's due to the tariffs. Let's watch this.
According to recent polling, Michael Alfonso is leading the pack. And Alfonso does have the endorsement of President Trump.
Of course.
We've seen kind of this mortgaging of the middle America, the manufacturing jobs, so that we can benefit the coastal elites. I don't like that. When we talk about rising costs, maybe the tariffs contribute to that.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
President Trump understands that this is a short-term plan. We're going to be working to bring back the jobs we lost overseas, right back here to northern Wisconsin, and then we can start removing the tariffs.
There you go. We can start removing the tariffs, bring prices down, but sometime in the future. Oh, we should be happy about that, right? In other words, keep dreaming the American dream, because that's as close as you're ever going to get to seeing it happen. Well, that's it. That's all I've got this time around in John's Media World Extra. As I always say, we will talk again.